patience. Okay. So welcome to What's New in Blackboard for Faculty, the Spring 2015 edition. We only have a few features this year that are coming out in January. We're looking at anonymous grading, delegated grading, safe assign, portfolios, and then also the student preview. Now most of these, the anonymous grading, delegated grading, safe assign, and portfolios are all new features that affect how we create an assignment in Blackboard. So today we're going to log into our Blackboard training environment. It has most of the bells and whistles that our production environment does, with a few exceptions. And as we go through today's webinar, I'll kind of point out to you what is missing and what you can expect when you come back in January to start your spring courses. Okay. So what you're seeing on the screen right now is actually the Blackboard training environment. I have logged in, just like I would in a production environment. I have selected my course, and in this particular case, we're looking at the April release demo. You'll see the course menu is similar to what you might expect in your current online course. We are in edit mode. Edit mode is the instructor view. You know you're in edit view because right here in the top right-hand corner, you'll see that it is on. When it is turned off, you do not have access to the green action toolbar. And this green action toolbar is available to you as an instructor and not to students. This is how we add and manipulate content. I'm sorry, someone's asking me if I can make the fonts a little bit bigger. When we get into the actual demo, I'll try to expand my page just a little bit. Right now, you're just looking at an announcement that just repeats exactly what I've told you, which is what we are going to be talking about today. You can also enlarge your window that you're viewing on your own personal computer screen by pulling the corner of the viewing box and making that as large or as small as you'd like. Thank you for that question, Chapla. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to go into class sessions. You can really enter into any content area, and we're going to, again, work with our assignment feature. So right across the top here, you'll see the green action toolbar with several different options. When I click Assessments, I'm going to create an assignment. This is something that you may already be familiar with. When you create an assignment, it's going to ask you for a name. We just enter that in. This is not something new. This is standard procedure. We're going to type in some instructions, just like we would in a regular assignment. We're going to attach a file, such as a handout, instructions, things that the student needs to be successful in the assignment process. You'll see here under due dates, you can select a due date for this particular assignment. When you select a due date, this automatically populates the Blackboard calendar. For those of you who joined me at our last Blackboard upgrade, you know that the calendar system is very powerful and students can see at a glance all of their assignments that are due and all of their different courses. There's also an institutional calendar. We can probably send you some information if you're not familiar with the calendar. It's pretty straightforward. To get to the calendar, one way to do that is right up here in the top right-hand corner. This is the Global Navigational Toolbar. And you'll see when that opens up, there's a little calendar icon right here on the black side of that strip. Okay. So our first feature that we're going to talk about is our anonymous grading. Can any of you think of a way or a reason you might use anonymous grading in your course? If so, just type me a little message in your question box and let me know some of your ideas. Ooh, Martha was quick. She says we can use anonymous grading for peer reviews. That's an excellent suggestion. What other suggestions might you have for how we can use anonymous grading? While you folks are thinking about that and preparing your answers to chime in, think about anonymous grading as a way to review hot topics. I know, like in our Human Services Department, sometimes they talk about religion, abortion, things that can get people emotionally charged. And what this does is allow the students' work to be viewed anonymously without their name attached to it. That way, the instructor looks at it with no biases, no prejudgments about that person. It gives the student a little bit of peace of mind, and it also kind of protects the faculty member, I guess, against those types of accusations. Rebecca has a suggestion: grade only on the answer given rather than letting personal feelings towards sender. Absolutely right, Rebecca. And yes, Diana says surveys, when they comes back to the setup of the class, yes. There is a way to do anonymous surveys in the course. It isn't quite used in this feature, but you're absolutely right. That gives students a certain amount of confidence that they can talk freely without any fear of repercussions. Great suggestions, great ideas. Keep those coming. So right now we're looking at this grading option. I'm going to make this the center of the screen. This is a little bit different, the view. These are some of the same features that you normally see when you're creating an assignment, but now they've kind of been organized into 3 menus. With each menu, you click the underlined title, and it opens up to your options. So because it's a required feature, we're going to go ahead and put in 100 points. And because we're talking about anonymous grading, I'm going to click the Grading Options button. Okay. Let me just reassure you right now, we are going to be posting an archive of the webinar moving forward, and I'm also going to be sending you some handouts as we get closer to the start of the semester. This is a great overview. It's pretty simple and straightforward, but I know through the holidays we get busy, things get chaotic, and we might forget, now what button did I push to do that? And I'm going to send you handouts as we go along. So no worries. Once we've opened up the grading options, we simply click Enable Anonymous Grading. Okay? With one click, we can turn that on. When we want to turn anonymous grading off, we have 2 options. You'll see here it says Disable Anonymous Grading, and we can do that on a specific date. And we click the little date box right here, and I want to say I'm going to take off anonymous grading on the 31st. That is not the due date. That is when the grading anonymous feature gets turned off. Okay? My other option is to submit it after all submissions are graded. And you see when I select that option, it prompts me, it says, hey, wait a second, you have to set a due date. And to set a due date, we're up here right under the little icon that says due dates. And I'm going to say, all of your work is due will be a Grinch, December 24th at 11:59 p.m. Okay? And now you see that after all submissions are graded, that feature gets turned off. Okay? So what do you think? That's pretty straightforward. Once you've made these options, you've selected what you want to see, just like every feature on Blackboard, to commit those changes, you're going to click the Submit button. Okay. You can change that feature, the enabling or disabling anonymous grading, at any point until the first student makes a submission. And after that student has made that submission, there is no going back at that point in time. I want to show you too, I've got a little screenshot here of what that looks like for a student. Okay, so once I've created my assignment, my student goes in, they click their assignment link, they're going to participate, they're ready to do their assignment. This is what comes up. Assignment information, the due date, the points possible, and then over on the right-hand side of the screen, you will see that it gives a message that anonymous grading is currently turned on. Okay, so the students know right up front that there are no biases, that this is going to be graded anonymously. The other item I wanted to show you is right here. So when a student goes into My Grades and they look at their final grade, they're going to take a look and you're going to see with this little icon right here that this assignment was graded anonymously. Okay? Does anybody know what this little blue icon is right here? If you do, post it in the little question box for me. Rebecca, you are quick on the draw. She says allows for comments. Chapla says feedback. You both are absolutely right. When a student goes into My Grades, they click on this little icon and it opens up a pop-up window with their feedback. Okay. Do you have any questions about grading anonymously or how that feature works? Okay. Oh, okay. Anonymous grading. I've got a question about that. Martha asked, does it allow students to grade each other or only the instructor to grade? We do not allow students to grade papers. Peer review is something different than grading, and we're going to talk about delegated grading in just a minute. Becky asked, or Rebecca, excuse me, I don't know what your preference is, but I apologize. Rebecca says, so the grades are automatically posted into my grade book. Once you have graded the assignment, it populates. It will never automatically grade for you a paper. You still have to do that. What I'm trying to draw your attention to is that when you've graded something anonymously, this little icon shows up. Right here. If you're grading through Needs Grading, how will it work? It works the same way. It just doesn't, when you start grading, you'll go to Needs Grading, you'll select the assignment, and it just keeps going through paper after paper, and you won't see any student information. And thank you. Rebecca goes by Becky. I'll try to remember that here in the future. I understand that, is that I don't have to put the grades in the grade book. They are put in as before. Yeah, this doesn't change how you grade an item at all. Okay. So let me turn off my red spotlight here. Oops. Okay. So that is enable on anonymous grading. So like I mentioned before, anonymous grading, delegated grading, portfolio, and Safe Assign are all new features for the spring term with the assignments. So you'll notice right below enable anonymous grading, you can enable delegated grading. Now, there are not very many applications where we will be able to use this tool. Okay? Delegated grading will absolutely, under no circumstances, ever be given to a student. Students do not have access to the Grade Center. There are some features in Blackboard where there can be a peer review or group work, but in this particular assignment feature, students do not have the grading option. Okay. You'll notice here that when I enabled delegated grading, the people who are eligible to grade this assignment automatically populate. My name is Kathy Long, so you'll notice I'm right there in the middle, and I am the instructor of record for this course. Ryan Falquist is also the instructor of record for this course. So perhaps if you are a nursing faculty and you are co-teaching a section, you might use delegated grading. Okay. I have the option here of being able to grade all submissions for this post or a random set. And when I select random set, I might have, say, we'll say 30 students in the class. And I might say, as the instructor, I'm going to grade 15. And my buddy here, who's also instructor in this course, he's going to do the other 15. Okay. You'll notice, too, there's also a teaching assistant role that does have some delegated grading ability. Delegated grading and teaching assistants really aren't a function that we use here at Ivy Tech. That teaching assistant role that some of you might have seen in passing is kind of going away. The role teaching assistant causes some very wonky things to happen in Blackboard, and that is a technical term, wonky. So you probably won't see a teacher assistant in this course. Okay? So basically, instructor of record, never any students. For those of you who might be familiar, who might be working with the online technology staff, or might be a support person, or might be a program chair, there is something in Blackboard called the Program Chair Observer. Program Chair Observer can enroll into a course, self-enroll, and then also self-unenroll themselves from the course. The Program Chair Observer role does not allow for delegated grading. Each region uses that program chair role in a different manner, but basically that role is designed to make sure that anyone who is struggling, maybe there's a sick faculty member, they can pop in and fill in for the class. They can make sure that things are running as they should. It's an evaluation tool, and it's something there to assist adjuncts or faculty in need. Okay. So it looks like I have a couple questions that popped in here. Nancy, I apologize. I don't know what your comment means about the score is 47 out of 50, not 100 points, which was the total assignment points. Feel free to add something to that. Patrick, when the disabled date passes for the anonymous grading, do the student's names show up on the assignment? Yes, that's a great question. And yes, Pat, it does. Once that date is passed and that disable anonymous grading happens, the student's name do appear on those assignments. Okay. So what other questions do you have about delegated grading? And again, once you've established your options here under delegated grading, and you really probably are not going to use it on a regular basis, you will scroll down to the bottom of the page and commit those changes by clicking the Submit button. So let's throw up a little poll here real quick. Can a program chair observer be a delegated grader? Yes or no? The results are coming in. They're coming in quickly. 67% have voted. Don't be shy. This is anonymous voting. I don't know who you are. Can a program chair observer be a delegated grader? 78% have voted. I'm going to give you about another 10 seconds to answer. There's still a few coming in. 2 seconds left. And okay, so 35% of you said yes, the program chair can be a delegated grader. 65% of you said no. And the answer is no. A program chair observer can never be a delegated grader. You must be the instructor of record to show up as an option as a delegated grader. Okay? The program chair observer, when they're enrolled in your class, can see the grade center. They can see all the things that you see as an instructor, but they don't get the email communications that you do as a faculty member, and they cannot be assigned as a delegated grader. Okay. All right, so that takes us to Safe Assign. Let's talk about Safe Assign. How many of you have used the Safe Assign tool either currently or in the past? Go ahead and just send me a quick note in the question box. There's several of you who are coming in as yes, a couple of you have not. Ooh, Dawn says multiple times. Sarah says yes. Great. So Safe Assign is a plagiarism detection tool. Okay? It does not say definitely this person is committing a crime by, plagiarizing someone's work. It's really a tool that the faculty member has to use and spend some time in. Okay? It will compare the student's report or paper to an international database that Blackboard has collected over years of them being in service. And what it does, it will generate a report, and it will tell you how much percentage of this paper has been potentially plagiarized. Okay? With this tool, you then have to look at that originality report, and you need to determine if it's just a common phrase that is often used with this topic, and it comes up in papers all the time, or maybe it's a citation that's done incorrectly, or if a student really did Google underwater basket weaving and got that from the expert. Excuse me just one second. I'm in someone else's office and I had to turn off the sound on their phone. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at that. Like I said, everything, anonymous grading, delegated grading, and Safe Assign are all part of this new features in Spring for the assignment tool. All right, so I'm going to deselect that. So to turn on Safe Assign, we're going to click the submission details. When I'm using Safe Assign, I can have an individual submission. I can have a group submission. I can have multiple attempts or single attempts. If I select multiple attempts or unlimited attempts, the Safe Assign tool recognizes that the same student has sent the paper in multiple times for this one assignment. So it's pretty sophisticated in that way to know that, yes, this might be my first draft, this is a second draft, and this is a final draft. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and click Individual Submission, Single Attempt, and I'm going to turn the plagiarism detection tool Safe Assign on by clicking the little box. I'm going to allow students to view the Safe Assign originality report for their attempts because we really want this to be a tool that helps students learn. if a student isn't familiar with MLA or APA guidelines, this is a great tool for them to see. If they don't know the difference between referencing someone's quote and plagiarizing someone's quote, this is a great way for them to review that. Once you've made your selection, again, you're going to go down to the Submit button and commit your changes. Now, for those of you who are veterans of the SafeAssign product, you know that when you have a course that's copied multiple times, you need to sync your course at the beginning of the semester for it to work appropriately. Now, in my training environment here, I do not have the SafeAssign tool turned on. It's only available to us in one instance, and it's currently live in our production version of Blackboard, which you're currently using to teach your classes, so I don't have it turned on here. But to sync a SafeAssign assignment, you go into your course tools, you select SafeAssign from the tool menu, and you'll have two options here, which will allow you to sync the tool or to submit a single submission. I apologize, I can't show that to you right now. I do have a couple slides, however, that might be beneficial to you. That's a great question. Diane asked me, what do you mean by syncing? What it does, it aligns this particular course with the SafeAssign tool and the database. It's a step that you must take as a faculty member. Usually if SafeAssign is being used in your course, it's in the instructor resources or you're given directions within the course on to sync your course before the start of the semester. I realize, Diane, without that visual and never having to use that tool before, it can kind of get confusing, but I hope that clarifies a little bit. You sync it so it works with the database. Do I have any of my veteran instructors who have any advice for our first-time users? While you're typing in your advice, I'm going to go ahead and bring up something I want you to see here. So when a student, excuse me, or when an instructor goes into the Grade Center and they click on the student's assignment, this is what you see. Okay, and you'll notice, you'll see the paper over here to the left, and if you haven't used Crocodoc, this allows you to edit and make comments directly in the student's paper instead of having to download it, make your changes or comments, and then upload it again. It's all contained within Blackboard. I love this Crocodoc tool. You'll notice here in the highlighted area that when this particular assignment was submitted, there was a 26% overall match. Okay. So 26% of this student's paper might possibly be plagiarized. And as the instructor, this little cutout here is the larger portion of this box area here. You're going to click View Originality Report. And you're going to look at that originality report, and you're going to determine where the student went wrong or if it truly is plagiarism. That report looks like this. There are three major areas. There's the report information, which is this area right here. Okay. And in this report information, you'll see that this was submitted on May 14th. There's 28% that's possibly plagiarized, It tells you the word count, and it also has the attachment of the document. Okay. This area right here is the actual manuscript text, so this is the student's paper. Okay. You'll see parts of it are highlighted. These are the areas that are possibly plagiarized. Okay. Down here under citations, and there's a breakout menu of that. Okay. You'll see that these highlighted areas and that they're numbered correspond with the citations. A faculty member can click that citation and see how it matches up to other resources. Okay, so it looks like we've had a couple questions and a couple bits of information that's come through. Chapel says it's a very simple. It works on its own, never had any problem with it. That is good news. Safe Assign has had an up and down reputation here at Ivy Tech. In my earlier session today, I have someone who's using it right now quite frequently and has had no issues this semester. So I think it's getting a little bit more robust. Kathy says if you forget to sync, the student will contact you and let you know it does not work. Once you sync, the student can submit the assignment. So that's good news. The importance of syncing. If it doesn't work, the student will let you know because they cannot submit their paper. Brian has a question. Does the tool do any checking of other class papers submitted for the same assignment? Yes, anything in the database, it will check this paper. It will compare this paper to anything in the database. So yes, if Bob and Sue are working together, collaborating, if you will, on their paper, and they use some similar phrasing or citations, yes, it will come up. And that would be something that you would counsel your student on. And I think this originality report and the information that it gives is a great counseling tool. It can really be used as a way to help students learn and become better students versus we're out to try to catch you cheating in some way. Michael says he really likes this function. And Diane confirms, yes, syncing means the student can submit the paper. Yes. You're welcome, Diane. These are great questions, and I appreciate the veteran instructors kind of giving some pointers for our faculty who haven't used that tool before. Okay, so now this brings me to something that I'm really excited about, and I think you will be too. Let me get out of this slide. Hang on just a second. Oops. And let's erase that. Okay. So this takes me to the Students Preview button, and this is pretty darn awesome. So when I log into my class, I'm going to open up our April release demo again. Here at the top of the page is what's known as the breadcrumb trail. Okay. The breadcrumb trail tells you where you are in the course, and there's now this new little option. I think it looks like an eyeball. When you click the eyeball, it tells you in this orange toolbar that you're entering the student preview mode. It'll now tell you the student preview mode is on. So this orange bar directs you into what you are doing. The student preview mode allows you to see and interact with the system as a student. Okay? So you'll notice that my course menu here got a lot smaller when I went into the student preview mode. If the items in the course menu are empty, then there's no content. It doesn't become available to students to see. It cuts down on the confusion. You'll notice here, however, I'm going to tell on myself that I am breaking college policy, because every faculty member is required by policy whether you are an online, face-to-face, or hybrid instructor, to post your instructor info. And there's a button located on this green course menu where you fill in that information. And since I did not fill in my instructor information, you'll see that it's not showing up on the course menu. So a friendly reminder, when you get ready for the semester start, you want to make sure that you're updating that instructor info. Okay? So right now I'm seeing what the student sees. I can actually go into my class sessions, and I can click on one of the assignments. I can see what the student sees. I can write a submission, or I can browse my computer and attach my assignment. I can make a comment, and I can say, when are you going to grade my paper? I don't think any of you have ever heard that question before, have you? Insert haha and laughter right there. And then I click submit, just like a student, and I see what the student sees. Okay, this is what the student sees when they submit their project. Okay, now why does this become important to me? This is important to me because now I can go through an assignment. I could even click on an assessment. I can see what the student is seeing and go through the steps that the student is going through. Okay. I can even click on the grades button here. Now, this is a little bit misleading because what it means is that I can see my submission. You'll see here that there's something that needs grading under the final project, and that was me. That was me as the instructor going through the student information. I can see what things are currently available, what assignments are currently showing up in the My Grades area. So if you ever hear a student that says, you know what, I'm not seeing my grade for research paper number 4, you can go into the student view, go into My Grades, and you're like, oh, you're right. Research paper 4 is not showing up. You can go into your Grade Center and you can click that little button that says allow the students to see this view. Okay. So let's take a look. When I click needs grading, this is just my information as a student. You see when I click on it, normally as an instructor, that would open up and I could see that. But I can't as a faculty member. Okay. I can, however, in the student view, and this is what students do as well, I can say, what did I submit? I can click the name, and I can see what I've submitted. After this is graded, I can actually see the feedback from the instructor. I can see what I scored. I can see the feedback, and I can see anything, notations that you've made. Okay, so pretty powerful stuff. When I'm done with this, I can simply click Exit Preview. It's going to ask me, do you want to delete the previous user and all data? Yes, I do. I don't want that information piling up. It's best if you've been in there, you've seen what you want to see, and you want to exit, to do so at this point in time, and to keep that default button selected. I just click Continue. You'll see that the orange information line has changed, and it takes me back now to my instructor view. So Stephanie wants to know, can we see individual students' grade centers? No, not from that view. You cannot. This is more of a generic, is it visible to students? Is it not? How does the functionality work for students? Stephanie also said, I had a student whose screen was showing a 0 as a grade, but in my screen it was showing as a 92. I would probably contact your online technologies coordinator to help troubleshoot that, or I would put a help desk ticket in if that's not previewing the way you think it should. Okay. So, what do you think? Student preview button, pretty cool, right? The crowd goes wild. No one is responding. Oh, thank you. Oh, there you are. Thank you for responding. I appreciate that. Good stuff. Nice job. Great information. Okay, not too shabby. Thanks, Michael. Stephanie's excited. And Diana, that's a great point. Diana says this is definitely a nice way to remind yourself to make it student-friendly. And Julie really likes the new features. Yes, thank you so much. I have one last feature. We've talked about anonymous grading. We've talked about delegated grading. We've talked about safe assign. And we've talked about the student preview. But now, drum roll please, we're going to talk about portfolio. Now, I don't know if any of you or some of you got to attend the Never Stop Learning Tour that was here on campus from Blackboard. We did a pre-conference with just Ivy Tech presenters, and then we did a national kind of presentation through the Blackboard Never Stop Learning Tour. A lot of feedback that we got at that tour were faculty saying we need a portfolio tool. And I think this might be a nice answer to that suggestion. Portfolios capture a body of student work. It can be many different things. I always think about maybe our visual communication students wanting to create their electronic portfolio of some of the things that they've created in their design classes. But there are two ways that we can use the portfolio feature. You remember when we talked about that most of our features today all come from the assignment tool. So one way to set up a portfolio assignment is by going to class sessions. Again, we're just going into a content area. We're going to click assessments and assignment. This is exactly what we did for anonymous grading, delegated grading, and safe assign. When I click assignment, I enter all in my information like I'm required to do. And when I go to submission details, I can now select portfolio submission. Okay. I can also select the portfolio template. And we don't have a lot of templates already loaded, but you would just go ahead and select the class project template. Okay. And we hit submit. Once we've made our selection, we've attached our directions, we've explained the purpose of the portfolio and how it's going to be used in this class, we go down and we select the Submit tool. Okay. Students can also create a portfolio on their own. It works exactly the same as a class portfolio assignment, but it's more comprehensive, but the tools are exactly the same. So to access the portfolio tool, we're going to click on that global navigational toolbar. You'll see we have several options here, and we're going to click on Tools. Okay. You'll notice there's a portfolio link. When we click Portfolio, you now see a series of buttons and items down the left side of the page. You'll see the green action toolbar. The green action toolbar is normally just for instructors, those who are adding content. But here, under the My Portfolios, students have the option to add content or create content. That's why they have this action toolbar. When they create a portfolio, and you can have more than one, you can give it a title. So maybe you have someone who is majoring in web design and then also in fine arts, and they want to have two separate portfolios. Okay, and you can select a template for it. Like I said, there's not a whole lot, or you can create your own. It's very straightforward, not a whole lot of things you can do here. You give it a title, a description if you want to, and you make it available. People can comment on your portfolio, so you can either check this to make all those comments hidden and private, or you can select to have feedback that's available to the public, and then you click Submit. Very simple, very straightforward. Once we do that, there is a Take the Tour. This is prompted for every new portfolio that you create. Students can then take the tour, and I encourage you, when these features become available in January, when you come back to school, that you take the tour. Play around with it. See what you think. But it'll walk them through step by step on what they want to do. For our purposes, we'll say no thanks. I'll explore on my own. And it allows you to enter pages and sections. Okay. I want to go back a little bit because this is how you would create things. You can take items from courses that you've already participated in, or you can add new items. You'll see now when I go back to my portfolios, I have one that's labeled Kathy Long and one for Fine Arts. So I can have as many portfolios as I like. There's a little mini menu here. I can edit it so I can keep working on it in chunks. I can view it, and I can do more things, such as share the settings. I can share this portfolio. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't have all the features turned on in my training environment, but it will allow you to share your portfolio with folks outside of the Blackboard system. So if I am trying to get a job as a graphic arts intern downtown at one of the TV stations, I can send a URL. When I share out my portfolio, it creates a URL for me, and that employer or mentor can take a look at that portfolio and see my work. It's pretty cool stuff. Artifacts. Artifacts are items that you can add to your portfolio. So you see here I've added a picture of my son's baseball team. Okay, we'll take a look at that in just a minute. I can add an artifact, as you see here in the green toolbar, a personal artifact, which is something like a picture, or I can add it from the course. Once I've added that artifact from a course into my portfolio, it always remains in the portfolio. Even if that class is disabled in Blackboard, as long as I've captured that artifact content in my portfolio, it remains there. There are also some portfolio templates. Like I said, very limited in what we have as far as templates so far. So let me go back to my portfolio, and let's go ahead and view that. Okay, so here's page 1. I don't have a lot of information in here, but when I click on section 1, and I'd probably rename my headers page 1 and section 1. There's a picture of my son's baseball team and their pink shirts supporting breast cancer awareness. So if I'm a photographer, I can show my work. If I'm a fine arts major, I could show my artwork here. I could do web links so students can see, or potential employers can see my web design. It can be used in any discipline. Okay, so Kathy wants to know, can students access material from courses they completed in past semesters? Can an instructor access for grading? Okay, that's 2 different questions there. If the course has already been disabled and unavailable to students, they would need to put in a help desk ticket requesting access to that course again to build their portfolio. The students will really have to discipline themselves into taking any items out of their Blackboard course and putting it in their portfolio, or saving those assignments and feedback outside of the course. Going back to past semesters will require, our Blackboard technical specialists to get involved to give them access to that, but they can do that ongoing during a normal class, and it remains after that class is closed. Can instructor access for grading? Yes, that is the portfolio feature used within the course. Okay? So one way of doing that, if you're doing a series of journals, community service work, when you create that portfolio assignment in Blackboard, in your Blackboard course, the student will access that just like a normal assignment, post their paper, their picture, whatever that assignment is, to that assignment link, and you'll be able to grade that just like you would any other assignment inside of Blackboard. If you're going to be grading a whole body of work, so maybe it's a capstone, I keep going to our visual communications department, but I know at the end of their degree program, they look at their portfolios, usually in a physical way, but this is a way that they could send this URL to their instructor and they can see their whole body of work. It can be shared in numerous different ways. The other big question that I get with this is, can they use it after they graduate or after they leave Ivy Tech? And the answer is, in the future, they will be able to. There's a product called MyEDU. It's a feature that Blackboard is currently finessing and I guess tweaking a little bit to make it truly functional, but it allows students to take their Ivy Tech experience and move that into a professional social media round. So at some point in time in the future, students will be able to take this portfolio work and then also use it in a larger scale. So we just have a few minutes left. Any questions about portfolios, safe assign, delegated grading, or anonymous grading? I apologize earlier, I think I missed it. Someone asked me if you can use safe assign in the discussion boards, and no, not at this time. You cannot. Michael, thank you. I appreciate you being here. Okay. So once again, over the Christmas break, Blackboard will be offline. And when you come back, it'll probably be back before January 5th. It's just going to be down for a couple days. But by the time you come back for a non-instructional week, these new features will be available to you in the Blackboard system. I will also be making webinars available to you if you want to review something, and I'll also be sending out handouts as we continue to move forward and closer to the spring semester. Thank you, Becky. Oh, Pat, thank you, Pat. Pat says that you can copy and paste the discussion board post into Safe Assign. So that's pretty clever. Pat, I wasn't aware that you could do that, but that makes sense. Imelda, thank you for attending today. Chapla, thank you very much. Nancy? Okay. Nancy asked me if there's a webinar for new adjuncts that you can access before the break. Why don't you, if you'd like, I can probably tell you what's available in your region or direct you to someone who can help you. Or if you have questions about something in particular, you are welcome to email me, and I will try to get you as prepared as possible. Oops. I misspelled my own email address, klong@ivytech.edu. I'll be glad to help you. Julie, I did record this webinar. I will be posting something of the webinar series as an archive for those who couldn't attend. Rebecca, that's a good question. Will you get credit on our training portal for attending this webinar? I don't plan on putting this information in the training portal. However, you will receive another follow-up email saying thank you for attending. You're more than welcome to use that to use it in your professional portfolio for faculty advancement or to show your supervisor. Michael, I appreciate your time too. Thank you so much. Have a very happy holiday. I'm going to stay online for just a few more minutes if anybody has any questions or concerns. Thank you once again. Have a very nice break. I hope you get to relax a little bit and have a wonderful holiday.